my aunt is actually hurting me more than what my parents did.
Welcome to Chapter 3 of Amberlynn Reid's Life Before YouTube. At the end of the last chapter, Amber had aged out of foster care, reunited with her mother's family, and moved to Oklahoma to share a room with her mother at Aunt Tammie's house.
When I first got out of foster care, I actually shared a room with my mom for a hot minute.
This chapter will mainly cover how Amber destroyed her relationship with Aunt Tammie by placing an expectation on her to unconditionally support her mother's addiction and later her own food addiction. She repeatedly lashed out at her aunt for setting healthy boundaries, up to a point where they had a public feud in 2017. At first, things were great in Oklahoma.
Last time I went camping was when I was living in Oklahoma. I was 18. We went and I got ticks on me. My clothes got stained because, as you guys know, like, Oklahoma doesn't have a beach or a ocean or anything. Anything that's really big and resembles maybe a lake or an ocean or whatever is really man-made. So I ended up going swimming and it stained everything. They have like red dirt. It was just a whole thing. There were snakes in the water and bugs everywhere.
Then Aunt Tammie found out that Amber's mother was still doing drugs while living at her house, and they would fight over it. Amber would get involved and take her mother's side.
My mom did some crazy stuff in Oklahoma. I can actually say for once in my life, the things that happened there were not my fault. And I remember one time, I was trying to stick up for my mother because my mom is my mom. No matter how much harm she did in my life, I love her unconditionally, and I would stick up for her for like anything. And I had the flu that day, and my aunt kicked me out and kicked my mom out, and we're like, where are we gonna go? And my grandma lived in Oklahoma as well. I didn't really know these family that well, but I moved in with my grandma with my mom.
Later, Aunt Tammie did an interview on Kiwi Farms and said this: Amber moved out of my house the day I kicked my sister out due to her addiction and choices she made. Amber wanted to smart off and get in the middle of it, so I said if she didn't like it, she could leave right along with her mom. And so she did. Life at Grandma's wasn't any better because Grandma was allegedly a weed-pushing pathological liar.
My grandma was so... oh my god. She would lie about having cancer, and she would lie about everything, and she was cheating on my grandpa. It was just a mess, like a hardcore mess.
The claim that Amber's grandmother was not the greatest was supported by Aunt Tammie. Throughout the Q&A, Aunt Tammie kept referring to Grandma as the birth canal. When she was asked why, she responded, quote, I started referring to my mother as birth canal when I was trying to point out the very few good things that she did for me as my mother. One, she brought me into this world. My mother lives less than 10 minutes away from me. I haven't talked to her in almost 3 years, minus a few texts. As I became healthier and made a lot of positive changes in my life, I started to learn my worth and learn to set limits and boundaries and remove toxic people in my life. I had to be distanced for my own well-being. I know it sounds heartless, but my mother does not deserve the respect of the honorable title of mother, so she became birth canal.
And I had to deal with some issues with my grandpa that I do not want to talk about. It was kind of traumatizing, to be honest, and just so much was happening so quickly. Like, me and my grandma would argue all the time because she would lie about her illness, and she was like trying to force me to smoke marijuana with her. Sorry, I got a text. And like, I would decline it and it would upset her. Like, it was bad news. And my mom started to do more drugs. She would drink more often, and I felt like I was the parent all over again. And that's exactly what I escaped when I was 8 years old and I was taken from my parents and put into foster care. And I was back at that again. So from ages 8 to 18, I had the solitude of being in healthy homes, because healthy homes, let me just say healthy homes. They're supposed to be healthy homes. And for the most part, like, I didn't feel crazy tense and just when I was in foster care. But then when I lived with my real family, like, all of those emotions from when I was a child came flooding back hard. And I was sitting there at the table with my mom and my grandma, and we were just talking about everything. How I don't know where I'm gonna really be living, 'cause I wasn't sure if I was gonna be living with my grandma like full time or anything. I didn't know. Like, I just was like dropped into Oklahoma, and then all this like eruption bombs went off, and I was so overwhelmed by it all of a sudden.
At this point, Amber was still dating Casey, the one she met back in California. After 6 months in Oklahoma, she decided to visit Casey in Arizona for 2 weeks.
I was in a long distance relationship at the time, and I was going to visit her for a full month in Arizona. I was super excited. It was like a vacation. I was like, this is gonna be like my medicine that I need. It's gonna heal me. I'm gonna be happy, and I'm just so excited.
Shortly after getting to Arizona, Amber was kicked out of Oklahoma by her grandmother.
The second week I was in Arizona, I got a call from my mom saying that my grandma does not want me living there and that I can't go back, and they're not sending me my stuff, and my whole world crashed because I had nowhere to go. I didn't have a job because I was in Arizona just for a month. So I didn't have a job. I didn't have anywhere to go. I had no car. I had nothing. And I just got done being in foster care. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, because being in foster care, like, you're very, like, taken care of in a sense, you know? Like, they always make sure you have a roof over your head and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my God, I'm 18. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Amber had nowhere to go, so Casey's mom reluctantly allowed her to stay with them.
Cassie's mom let me live there, and it was a very small apartment. I'm talking, like, I think it was like 450 square feet. There were like no doors. Cassidy and I ended up having to use the living room as our bedroom.
My mom was mad. We didn't have a lot of money. When she's talking about her small apartment, we didn't have a lot of money. We were poor. It didn't have a bedroom door. It was like a studio with like a wall. That's all we could afford. So she had a 16-year-old to raise. Plus, she was just getting into my mom was just getting into a new relationship, and then all of a sudden there's someone else that's there that she needs to make sure to feed. Yeah, it made her mad. But I fought for Amber to be there because she didn't have nowhere to go. Now, it was because of me that she stayed. My mom didn't want to. But what was wrong is her mom didn't really stand up to her own mother, but, you know, it was whatever. I fought for her to stay. I didn't want her to be homeless. It was, you know, I felt that was the right thing to do.
This is what Aunt Tammie had to say about Grandma kicking Amber out. Amber was very disrespectful, lazy, and rude. She'd always be getting into conversations between her mom and my mother. I wasn't there when this would happen, but I would get calls from my mother and my sister regarding it. I've always thought it was very, very wrong of my mother to kick her out in that way. If nothing else, she should have allowed her to come back and then explain some guidelines, and then if not worked out, tell her she had to go. Well, after kicking Amber out, Amber's mom and grandma would not live happily ever after. Just a few months later, in July 2010, Amber's mom was arrested for beating grandma up. Christine posted this Facebook status update. "I'm in jail for beating my mother up. Sorry, will be out next month." In Arizona, Casey's mother had let Amber stay on condition that she would either get a job or go to school.
When I was in Arizona, I was living with my ex and her mom, and the rule was I had to either go to college or get a job. So my first instinct was to try to get a job. So I remember this was back before like applications were online. So I went to the mall and I went to every store. This is so embarrassing to even say out loud. I went to every store and asked for an application, and I sat at the mall until it closed, and I filled out every single application at the little lunch court area, and I sent them back. Obviously that very day I went back to the stores and I gave them the application, and I got a lot of stares. I understand, like, if you're wanting to work in like a Forever 21, you kind of need to have that look. If you want to work in like an older lady store, you kind of need to have that look. I don't think they're gonna hire like a teeny bopper. I don't really know. But even when I went into Torrid, I was like, oh, Torrid, I got this down. Like, I know they're gonna be like, okay, well, this girl, she's plus size, she's gonna, you know, want to work here. But even I got weird stares from there, and nobody called me back. Not a single person, because I physically went in the store and they saw how I looked. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, that's not why they didn't call you back. That's not why. It's not because of how you look. That's not true. People discriminate all the time based on people's appearance. And I know when people look at me, they're like, oh, how is she gonna work here? How is she gonna do this? How is she gonna do that? She can barely take care of herself. I just feel like it's just not fair to be judged based on my appearance.
Amber is now going to college for criminal justice.
I used to go to college. I was majoring in criminal justice, and I used FOSFA. If you guys don't know what that is, that's pretty much just a thing for college students. If you don't have the money, they loan you the money, but you still have to pay them back. And it was very, very expensive. And I have not been able to pay a single penny for my loans because I do not have a job.
Amber would often take to Facebook to express her disdain for her living situation at Casey's house. In one post she said, quote, "You know, if I didn't live with assholes, I wouldn't have to wake up at 5 a.m. to catch a bus to be at school at 9. Maybe if I didn't live with assholes, I'd get a ride." End quote. So thanks to Casey's family's egregious failure to provide Amber a ride, on top of letting her live with them for free, one day Amber had to get a ride from a cop.
And then when I was 19, living in Arizona, I had no way home this one time. Here's a little story time for you guys. I rode the bus everywhere. I lived in Tucson, Arizona. I went to college. I would go to the mall a lot. I don't know, I love chilling at the mall. I love people watching. So I would just go and do things all the time. And there was one night I missed the last bus, and it was super late at night. I had no way of getting home. It was way too far for me to walk. So obviously I started walking, and I got super desperate. This is embarrassing, but I was 19 at the time, okay? So don't come for me. I saw a cop. He was in a fast food like restaurant, like at the drive-thru, and I was like, "Can you give me a ride home? Please, I kind of need a ride." And he said yes, but I'm not a taxi. He was kind of like snippy about it, but he still gave me a ride home. I mean, to get home, it was about a 30-minute drive, so just imagine me walking. But while I was in the back of the cop car, I guess he looked up my name and he was like, "Oh, looks like you have a misdemeanor or something." And I was like, "Ma'am, what?" I was so confused. And it turns out there was someone else in Tucson, Arizona that actually had my exact same name. So I guess there's a lot of Amberlynn Reids out there. I don't know, but he freaking scared me for a minute until we realized that I was not the Amberlynn Reid.
During this time, Casey was coming to terms with his identity as a transgender man, and he came out to Amber.
Now, I did try to come out to her as transgender before, and she just did not have it. She was mad about it.
Amber would later say she found it weird that Casey looked like a boy and taped his boobs.
I had an ex-girlfriend named Cassidy. She did not look like a girl. She taped down her boobs on purpose, so they'd always think that was a boy. So it was just really weird because I'm not into that.
They'd have to be like, "I don't like him like that."
That'd be so funny. I don't like him like that.
I will not get into the details of Amber's life in Arizona. There are a lot of accusations and allegations of abuse on both sides.
I had such mental issues from being with her. I was so messed up from the abuse, the mental abuse, the verbal abuse, that I had to see psychiatrists.
Verbally, was she verbally abusive to you?
Oh yeah, she'd always,
Sorry, I'm right here.
she'd always talk.
You can say whatever, Mom. They're asking you to be honest.
Yeah, she'd talk a bunch of shit. But then in the same time, she would say that she was, grateful, and, her mom was never there, and her dad was never there, and their parents were transferred on drugs.
My mom's boyfriend and Amber didn't get along. There was a lot of fights.
Several times he threatened to kill me. I was abused there a lot, in several different ways.
Cassidy's mom threw this big clear ashtray right to my head.
And the thing about my mom throwing a glass ashtray at her head? No. She was very disrespectful to my mom. She threw a glass cup at my mom. It shattered on the wall. There was still a hole mark when they moved out because of that.
RAPE, rain and petals, eavesdrop. I used the wrong word.
Amber met a new girlfriend named Crystal online.
One day in Arizona, I meet her online, and we just talk and talk. She's funny, she's silly, and she really lights up my world. While living in Arizona, I mean, Crystal would text all the time, and I mean, she didn't start lighting up my world right off the bat. We were just friends. She was just funny, and my attention became more towards her and not so much towards my current girlfriend.
I started dating Crystal when I was 21.
I still remember the first time I ever told Crystal that I was in love with her. It was over the phone, and I was actually sitting outside of Dunkin' Donuts in like the middle of the night. I know, random. And then a few months later, her and her mom came and visited me, and it was incredible. The girlfriend I had then didn't approve of this, but I had to be honest with her that I was in love with somebody else. And as much as I wanted to try and work out the relationship I was in, I just knew it wasn't gonna happen. Things were falling apart, and things were falling together so perfectly with Crystal that I couldn't ignore it. One night, me and the current girlfriend got in a huge argument, and I just couldn't deal. I finally just said, I'm done. I gave Crystal a call. Next morning, I was actually getting on a plane to be with her. Her parents paid, and I appreciate everything her parents have done for me.
This moment here, when Amber moved to Virginia, is the moment her life diverged from the path that the rest of her family took. Her mother and father were still deep in their addiction, cycling between homelessness and jail. Her brother had aged out of foster care and stayed in California with their father, and he too was about to be swept into addiction and go to jail multiple times.
My brother, my baby brother, that I love as if he was my own. He made some really bad choices. I'm talking really bad choices. He was sentenced to 10 years to prison. And not only that, but his girlfriend is in jail as well, pregnant with my brother's child.
At Crystal's house, Amber would get to live for free and receive a monthly allowance of $1,400 from Crystal's parents.
I appreciate everything her parents have done for me. They're like parents I never had in a way.
Amber would now have the free time to start her weight loss journey on YouTube in November 2013.
Oh, Amberlynn, you're doing so good eating your fruits and vegetables. Oh, Amberlynn, your 60-pound weight loss is just so amazing. Oh, Amberlynn, posting your life on YouTube is really helping you with your weight loss. Oh, so good, so good.
At the beginning of Amber's YouTube career, the only family member that she was in contact with and supported her through her weight loss journey was Aunt Tammie. Aunt Tammie would watch Amber's videos and send her encouraging messages and participate in her Q&As.
Me and my aunt, she's the only family member I really talk to, and we would talk on like a daily basis. She's also on a weight loss journey, and she's doing fantastic. She does Weight Watchers, so she gives me some tips here and there, and, you know, I try to give her some as well. And in a way, other than my girlfriend, of course, she became, like, my best friend. And when I see 0.4 on the scale, it kind of made me sad, I gotta be honest. I texted my aunt, and I was like, this something sad happened on the scale. Next question is from Tammie Smith. What is your favorite memory with me? Tammie Smith, if you guys don't know, that is my aunt. Last night when my aunt watched my December 2000 favorites video, she saw the song I put and she actually liked it. Yay! I decided to plop myself on Facebook and I noticed my aunt tagged me in this picture where it says, if you love your niece, you know, tag her. And on top of that, in my aunt's own words, she expressed to me how proud she is of me.
Then one day, in February 2014, Emma came onto YouTube to vent her frustration with a post that Aunt Tammie made on Facebook saying exercise is important to weight loss.
So, my aunt posted a picture on Facebook that said, "You want to know how I'm losing weight? Well, it's lots of hours in the gym," or something like that. And I commented down below and be like, "I'm losing weight without the gym." It was kind of a way for me to kind of let out that I'm proud of myself for losing all this weight, and I am changing my eating habits, and it's helping so much. Don't get me wrong, I exercise sometimes. I don't exercise every single day. I don't. I have very bad back and a very bad knee, so I try not to make it even worse. But I do Just Dance a lot, and I got this new 7-minute workout app that I will be trying soon. But so when I commented on that, I guess one of her friends commented on it, just saying how, but if you want a fit body, then wouldn't you want to, how did she word it? She's like, the gym is to make you, like, fit. And, then I mentioned back, I don't want to be fit. I just don't want to be morbidly obese anymore. And that is true. It's a big, big, big thing for me. For me to get out of the morbidly obese, like, section of the health chart will be the biggest accomplishment ever. I have been morbidly obese since I was legit, like, 9 years old. It's disgusting, but it's true. So if I ever left that part of my life, it would be amazing. I'm not in this to get fit. I'm not, at all. So when the trainer responded, she's like, well, wouldn't you rather be fit so you can feel good about yourself? And because it's an amazing feeling. And when she said, wouldn't you rather be fit so you can feel good about yourself? I was like, whoa. Actually, I do feel good about myself, and I don't think that my outside appearance has to look fit for me to feel that way. And I mean, her and I were just talking back and forth and stuff like that. And I noticed that my aunt kept liking this girl's comments of what she was saying, but she wasn't liking mine. And I was like shocked, because mine were purely about how proud I am of myself. And that I don't have to be fit to be proud of myself. I just have to lose my weight and finally not be in the morbidly obese section. And I feel like more so than anything, I thought my aunt would kind of have my side, because this girl was nothing to her besides, I guess, a trainer that she met once or twice. I don't know. So I was like, so I messaged my aunt and I was like, I see that you're reading these and you're liking all her things that she's saying, but I don't see you liking mine. And my aunt's reply was, I noticed you were being confrontational, and she's a trainer, so she knows what she's talking about. And I was like, whoa, auntie, legit, I wasn't being confrontational. I was just telling her that I do not have to be fit to love myself. And I also said, you don't have to be a trainer to subscribe to someone when they should love themselves. It really hit home. I was like, okay, me and my aunt are, bonding each and every day. And the fact that she's gonna sit there and say those things to me and agree with this person really was mind-boggling to me. It confused me. It hurt my feelings. And when I sent my aunt the message back about how I'm not gonna have a substrainer, what the hell is that? When I sent my aunt the message back saying I'm not gonna have a trainer telling me when I should love myself, and that I can only love myself and be proud of myself and feel good about myself as if I'm fit, that's not okay. But she didn't reply to me. All she said was ugh. And ugh to my aunt means, oh my god, this drama queen. And you know what? Okay, I might be coming off a little dramatic right now, but now my aunt is posting really mean things on her page. Like,
quotes about selfish people, and I'm the farthest from selfish.
This video was not well received, so Amber issued an apology to her aunt.
And I don't regret it. I just don't know if, you know, today was yesterday. I don't know if I would have done it. My aunt did see the video, and I feel bad. Since her and I were in an argument, I honestly wasn't expecting her to still watch my videos. The fact that she does shows that she's still there for me. And like she said, she's watching from afar. She did tell me that. But I feel bad. I feel like maybe I shouldn't get that personal with you guys, because I don't even know if you guys liked watching that, since I did get a lot of dislikes. So my apologies, and my apologies to my aunt. I just got done writing her a very long message, and it was more so apologizing for how I handled things, not for how I feel, because I don't think I should ever apologize for how I feel. But I do need to apologize to her just for how I handled things. I love her a lot. She is the only family member that I really have in my life. And I don't want to lose her. She became, you know, a really big part of my life. And I just wanted to start this video with apologizing to everyone who watched that video and thought it was disrespectful of me. Nobody actually said that, but I felt like maybe it was disrespectful.
Then in March, Amber's mother became homeless when her fiance broke up with her and kicked her out of the car that they were living in together.
So I just clicked on Facebook, and my mom's status says homeless, living in car, starving. Now do you see why my heart is literally shattering every single second of my life? And thankfully, my aunt said that she'll be there to feed her, which is very nice to see, but that literally broke my heart, and I just feel like crying and eating the whole house.
And Tammie made true to her promise and gave Amber's mom food and other essentials.
So it's been about a half an hour since I told you guys about my mom. And my aunt did more than just gave her like a little snack. She gave her, you know, shampoos and deodorants, and I guess these coupons for 14 free tacos and like 7 free breakfast sandwiches and cigarettes, of course. Lots of snacks. And it really just brought tears to my eyes. Because if you guys knew like the situation of my family, from my aunt, I would expect, you know, her to help my mom, but I guess I didn't expect such a big help and such a quick help, if that makes sense. My mom and my dad are separated. There was a point where my mom, she wanted to move all the way to a different country, I meant state, to see if my dad, you know, could help her. And my dad's house burnt down a couple months ago, so he's also homeless. I really wish that I could do something. I have a lot of other family members that live very, very close to my mom, and my aunt, she gives her, you know, food randomly, which, you know, I appreciate so much.
Then Amber got upset with Aunt Tammie for not letting her mom move back into her house.
I don't know how to word it. I was just kind of rude to her because she wouldn't help my mom more than what she was already doing. Overall, I just wanted my mom to, you know, kind of be in a safe place. And I am very opinionated, and I probably say too much that I probably shouldn't say, and it happens a lot. Me and my aunt, we got in an argument because I was shocked, hurt, disappointed that she wouldn't let my mom, you know, kind of just stay under her roof. It's her sister, and, you know, me and my brother have been through a lot. My brother has now, turned to drugs. I haven't heard from him in a while, but I'm hoping more than anything he's sober and, doing the best he can with, what he was dealt with. And I know for a fact, even through everything, if my brother needed me, I would be there for him. That's just the type of person I am. I understand my mom and my aunt have, been through a lot, and a lot of things have been done and said, and it's just a lot of things that, you can forgive, but you can never forget. And I understand completely about that, but I'm just scared that something bad's gonna happen to my mom, and my aunt's gonna look back and regret, the decision she's making, and it worries me. I don't know if I'm being selfish.
Let's quickly analyze what Amber's upset at Aunt Tammie for. First, Amber admitted that the last time Aunt Tammie let her mother live at her house, she was doing crazy things up to a point where she got kicked out.
My mom did some crazy stuff in Oklahoma.
Aunt Tammie would later post in one of Amber's live streams that Amber's mom abused her over and over in addition to telling frequent lies. Then after getting kicked out of Aunt Tammie's house, Grandma let Amber's mom move in with her and she beat Grandma up. At this point of homelessness in 2014, Amber's mom was still in active addiction. Now let's connect those dots. Amber is upset that Aunt Tammie refuses to let an erratic, violent drug addict move back into her home. After this argument, Aunt Tammie stopped talking to Amber, and over the next several weeks, Amber kept trying to contact her to no avail.
I ruined the relationship I have with my aunt. We used to talk every single day. She was there for me. She was a big supporter. She watched all my YouTube videos. I've been sending her messages randomly for the last couple of weeks, just telling her how sorry I am. So I'm just going through a lot with that, and more than anything, I wish my aunt would be in my life again, because she was like that one family member that, always talked to me, was there for me, and I feel like, I so easily lose people. My aunt still hasn't, communicated with me. It hurts a lot, I gotta be honest, it really does. I just want her to forgive me, My mom's still homeless. I haven't really heard from her at all. I haven't heard from my dad at all. And regarding my aunt, I tried my hardest. I sent her long messages and just apologizing and trying to have her back in my life. And I don't think it's gonna happen. She won't respond. So it's not that I'm giving up on her. I think it's just time for me to move on. It was making my heart very heavy every single day regarding my whole aunt issue, and I just couldn't really deal with it anymore. So I kind of I even sent that in a message last night. I said, if you don't respond to this, then it's a good way to let me know to just kind of give up. I don't know if my aunt's watching this, but I just want to say I miss you, and I hope I hear from you soon.
In May, Amber and Aunt Tammie started talking again.
I literally, oh my gosh, I have like no words right now. For months now, me and my aunt haven't communicated because just some things happened, and she actually replied to my message, and I feel like just freaking so happy. Like, I feel like maybe in a way that's like a sign that things are gonna start getting better in my life, because that was actually making me really sad.
And by August, their relationship was good. Amber even tagged her on an ice bucket challenge.
This one is for my aunt. My aunt watches all my videos, but she hasn't had internet in a long time, and she's been super busy, and she's taking on this job, and so she hasn't seen over like 100 of my videos, and she watches every single one. So she's actually gonna binge watch my videos, and I can't wait for that. So when you're on this video, I just want to say I love you and thank you for the support and watching my videos and things like that. It's amazing.
I guess I'll tell you who I tag first. I'm gonna tag Danielle Stevens, and I'm gonna tag Tammie Hogan. Danielle is a friend of mine, and Tammie is my aunt. So I hope you guys are watching this, and I hope you guys do it because I'd love to watch it. Crystal, I don't know if I can do it. 2, 3.
In 2015, Amber and Crystal broke up, and Amber moved to Florida to live with a new girlfriend named Destiny. At this point, Aunt Tammie was still supporting Amber and even sent her Christmas gifts.
Just got off of work and I got a package. Okay, I get a little too excited. This package is a Christmas gift from my aunt. So, sorry, blocked y'all. Let's open it on camera. Ooh, two little gifts. Ooh, a card. Oh my God, it says Amber and Destiny. The card. Amber and Destiny sitting in a tree. It says ING. I suck at opening envelopes. Merry Christmas. The magic of Christmas never ends, and it's greatest of gifts and family and friends. Lots of love, Brian and Tammie. Oh, that's my aunt and her boyfriend. Look at Destiny, they did their own little card.
In October 2015, Amber's mother was arrested and charged for aggravated assault against an elderly or decrepit person.
Yesterday, my mother was sentenced to prison for 5 years and 26 days. Found out that she has to serve every single one of those days. It was really hard for me to grasp. I was completely numb when I found out yesterday. I was shocked, and I woke up this morning and it all kind of like just hit me all at once, and I could not stop crying.
Aunt Tammie gave Amber the address to write her mom a letter in prison. It was now Amber's turn to be there for her mother the same way she expected Aunt Tammie to be.
For when I save my mother's and I's prison type of letter deals, I got this really cute, it's actually peacock, like what? Peacock binder for that.
You have to send her paper too?
Yeah, I have to send her paper, envelope, stamps. And then I got this bubble mailer thing, and I realized, I Googled it after I bought it, and you can't send bubble mailers to jailmates.
I thought you said your aunt said that.
Well, my aunt said it, and then I Googled it.
Oh.
So, that's the thing. I'm gonna have to go back. And then I got these little sheet protectors for when I put the copied letters inside of the binder. I don't want the pages to get ruined, so got some of those. And last thing I got was lined paper, so I can write her college rule because that's the way to go. So
Throughout 2016, Amber kept promising to write the letter, but never did it. Then she said the reason she couldn't do it is because of the pain her mother put her through in the past.
I don't know if it's really but I didn't write my mom. She's in prison, as you guys know, and I haven't written her. And I'm doing it because I don't know what to say. I have so much to say, but I don't know how to word it. And I feel very like she wasn't there for me ever. I was in foster care because of her. And she was never there for me. She would cancel visitation, and she never wrote me, never did anything for me. And I kind of am like, am I supposed to be moving on from her BS, or am I supposed to be trying to make amends? I don't know. It's hard.
The problem here is not that Amber is still upset about what her mom put her through. That's completely understandable and justified. Her mom repeatedly failed her, and she's allowed to still be hung up on that. The problem is the lack of empathy that Amber had shown towards Aunt Tammie, who had also been abused by Amber's mother. When it was Aunt Tammie who was setting boundaries and protecting herself from Amber's mother's BS in 2014, Amber was grandstanding, pushing through that boundary, and came online to paint Aunt Tammie like a selfish person for not letting her mother move back into her home. But now, when it was her turn, suddenly Amber remembered that her mother is terrible. When Aunt Tammie confronted Amber about failing to write a simple letter or send her mother a penny, Amber had this smug response.
You begged me to be there for my sister even after she abused me over and over. And now look, you're there for her, aren't you? So I got my wish. You're there for her. Because I knew my mom needed her sister, and my mom would tell me that repeatedly, that she needed her sister. My mom was literally living in a tent during, like, you guys know Oklahoma, it's really bad for their tornadoes. And it was really bad weather. I was like freaking out. I knew this. I was living in Florida. I'm pretty sure. God, I get my times mixed. And she was in a f***ing tent. And nobody went and picked up my mom. And there's so many family members in Oklahoma. And I was just like so confused. And I was just like, I wish I wasn't in Florida. I would take her under my wing. I don't care how many lies my mom told me, how many drugs she was on, how much she manipulated me. I don't care. I wanted to help my mom. And I was very upset because my aunt wouldn't just take her in even for the night. No, my mom never got a letter from me because you can't write a letter to someone who lives in a tent. Like, me and my mom would talk on the phone a lot back then when, she had her phone from the government.
Amber's mother got diagnosed with cancer in prison. Amber still did not write her.
My aunt posted a status, and she shared some of the last few things that my mom said to her on the phone, because the prison allowed my mom to call my aunt to tell her that she has cancer. And I'm sorry. One of the things that my mom said to my aunt was that my mom feels like God brought her there, prison, to find out that she had cancer. Because before my mom went to prison, she was homeless. And you wouldn't see my mom going to the doctor. There's no way. And luckily and thankfully, prison does give her the means to a doctor.
You don't do a damn thing to talk to your mother after crying about her cancer. Actually, I started writing her a letter. I have not sent it yet, though. You guys don't know, like, just because I don't show something or talk about something, it doesn't mean it's not happening. I started writing the letter, and I was crying my eyes out. And I told my girlfriend about it, and I'm like, this whole letter writing thing is harder than I thought. And she said, I'll help you. And she's coming over this weekend, and she's going to help me. She's going to be there for me. It's really hard to write the letter, especially when you're alone. And she's going to be there to help me. And I appreciate that so much. This has taken some time, but it's happening because I have things that I have to heal,
People in Amber's chat defended Amber, saying she didn't owe her mother anything, which is true, but Aunt Tammie also owed Amber's mom nothing when Amber was pushing her to shelter and feed her.
Someone said her mom doesn't deserve a penny from Amberlynn. You don't owe your mother anything. She failed you. Amberlynn, I feel for you so much after seeing these messages. You aren't your mother's keeper, and you have a life to live for yourself. Now that everyone sees how my aunt really is.
Then in May 2016, completely unprompted, Amber villainized Aunt Tammie again by posting a video titled, "My aunt stopped talking to me because I'm fat." Then in this video, Amber comes full circle and gets upset that Aunt Tammie still supports her drug-addicted mother but will not talk to her.
My aunt has completely stopped talking to me. In December, she blocked me on Facebook. She blocked me on her cell phone, blocked my number completely. I have no way of getting a hold of her whatsoever. And the reasoning is because I'm fat. Okay. I'm not kidding. I know that sounds bad saying it like that, but the truth is it's because I'm fat. She always watched my YouTube videos, and she saw me struggling with my weight, and she saw me struggling with the things I ate and my eating disorder and all this stuff. And she told me specifically in December that she's tired of watching me self-destruct myself. Okay, that I can understand. Honestly, I do. Stop watching my YouTube then. Cool. But why cut off all communication with the person that you tried so hard to find when I was younger? I do not have any blood family, and that's hard for me. And it's confusing that my aunt, knowing that I have a eating disorder and I have a food addiction, would just give up on me because I am fat. Where's the unconditional love? Where is the I will be there for you, but I won't support you in your addiction? Where is that? My mom, which is her sister, has been a drug addict for years. But my aunt still wanted to find her and communicate with her and be in her life. My aunt still to this day is there for my mom. She writes my mom in prison. She visits my mom. She calls my mom. Why is my aunt able to accept a drug addiction but not a food addiction?
Later, Tammie went to Kiwi Farms to clarify what actually happened. She said, "I never left her because she was fat. If anyone could understand, it was me, and I tried. Hours and hours of text and pictures and recipes, tips, Weight Watchers, this diet, that diet. As I learned, I wanted to share with her, teach her, support her. She continually made excuse after excuse, lie after lie. I was spinning my wheels and getting nowhere with her. I caught her lying about not being able to take her own lunch to work because I was explaining how she has to take responsibility for her food choices, prepare in advance, make her own lunches and take them. She went on to explain a million reasons why she couldn't instead of ways she could. I finally had enough and called her job and posed as a potential interested employee and asked some questions. If I was to be employed with a company, is there a place where I can store my lunch because I'm on a very strict diet and I want to make sure I will have that option? Of course, the girl told me yes. Like, what workplace doesn't allow you to bring your lunch to work? I confronted Amber and she went as far as to quickly write with a marker on a piece of white paper and put it on a workplace wall and took a picture to try and prove her case. Well, you see, I'm smarter than the advantage bear, so I told her I wasn't stupid and she could have easily just done that now for show. Long story short, I busted her lying again. I believe a couple of days later, there was a video, same room, same setup, but no note posted anymore. After she damaged my trust repeatedly, it became impossible to believe what she was telling most times. On top of all of the games and her own self-destructive behavior, it became too much. So did I leave Amber because she was fat? Hell no. I detached because she became toxic and self-destructive. I was becoming a hamster in a hamster wheel. Amber's always quick to say that it took me until I was in my 40s to figure it out to lose my weight. And I used to say, yes, it did. But that's the great thing. You don't have to. I'm scared she won't make it until she reaches her 40s. Amber came back and said she lied about the reason Aunt Tammie stopped talking to her.
So if you guys remember my aunt situation, this was a while ago though. This was probably, I don't know, it was months ago. Months, to be honest. When I uploaded a video about how my aunt doesn't talk to me anymore because I'm fat. I'm a little on edge about that. I ended up talking to her and my cousins regarding that video. I had no idea they were gonna see it. I had no idea my aunt even watched my YouTube anymore or anything, and they were greatly offended. But at the time, I was vulnerable and I was upset, and I really felt like blaming my weight on everything was just like the easiest way to go. It's hard. Like, I have a weight issue and I have, mental issues that cause, me to be bigger. You don't just get this big for no reason. It just doesn't work that way. Like, of course, you can get, overweight. That's normal. But to become so morbidly obese, there's something wrong. And I kind of wanted to ignore all that and just be like, oh, my aunt doesn't talk to me because I'm fat. I just thought it would be easier. There's more to me than my weight when it comes to me and my aunt's, relationship. I pushed her away because of just who I am and how I am as a person. And that's the truth. And it's really not has anything to do with my weight. At the time, I felt like that. Sometimes I still do. I really don't know. I I think I gave her a lot of excuses as to who I am. I fibbed to her a few times just so she would stay in my life. I know that sounds so strange, but I don't know. That's really all I want to say regarding that is, no, my aunt, you know, she didn't stop talking to me because I'm fat. She stopped talking to me because of the issues I brought upon her, I guess. And if she's watching this, I am so sorry, and I really just, I wish I could change who I am as a person, because I really want my aunt back. Like, it affects me, it really does. Sorry.
After these lies, things went quiet with Aunt Tammie. On June 15, 2017, Amber posted a video titled "Coming Out to My Dad," in which she said when she was younger, she was afraid to officially come out to her father because he had a history of saying extremely homophobic things. Aunt Tammie commented on this video calling Amber a liar, saying her dad never said those things. I could not track down the exact comment that Aunt Tammie made at the time, but this is Amber's response to the accusation.
Aunt Tammie, if you're listening still. That the people who say they like you, they don't really like you. They're liking the drama, and you're giving it to them. You still weren't in my life, and you had no idea the kind of things that my dad would say about gay people. You weren't there, so how could you ever comment on my video saying your dad never said those things if you weren't there? That's what me up the most, and it makes no sense at all. I know about your dad plenty. Yes, then you would know the harsh things my father used to say about my grandma, about my brother possibly being a fat shit. That was one of the ones that me up the most. Or the things he would say about AIDS and gay men. You would know those things then, wouldn't you? And you would know that as a little girl, a 12-year-old girl, being a bisexual, you would know that would scar her. And be like, okay, if my father doesn't like gay people and I might be gay, that means he's not going to like me. He's not going to love me. You would know that, wouldn't you?
The lies about Amber's father were not the only scandal to break out of the coming out video. Amber also told a story of how she came out to her mother when she was 15, which sounded nearly identical to a story that her ex-partner Casey had posted on YouTube a year prior in 2016.
My mom found out I liked girls because I wrote a love note to Lucy, and I left it in my pants, and she went to do laundry, and, well, she found it. So, and I was trying to lie to her at first, and I said, no, it's not, no, and I finally said, yeah, but I did the safe route. At least I believe it was a safe route, and I came out as bisexual. And I figured that was the safest route because at least they wouldn't be so mad. I don't know why.
Okay, so this is kind of confusing. I came out to my mom twice as a bisexual and then later on as a lesbian, but I have never came out to my dad. So let me explain. So when I came out to my mom as a bisexual, it was actually because she found a note in my pants pocket. She was doing my laundry. I was 15 at the time. I'm pretty sure I was 15. And she had that note for a couple months. In that note, it said that, it said that I was in love with this girl. Obviously, I wasn't in love. It was like puppy love. I was writing it to my friend, and I was just like, you know, I'm in love with so-and-so, and she's a girl. How do I tell my parents? My parents are going to hate me. And my mom found that note, and she kept it for months. So fast forward a couple months, me and my mom were in like a little tiff. I was like bawling my eyes out about something. And we were like having like a mini yelling match. I don't remember what it was about. And I remember looking her in the eyes and saying, you have no idea what I'm going through. You don't know everything about me. And she looked at me in the eyes and said, yes, I do. And I was like, no, you really don't. There's something I've been hiding from you and I don't want to tell you. And it was very dramatic. And she goes, I know what it is. And I'm like, there's no way. And she goes, you like women. Like, that was literally what she said to me. You like women. And I was like, what? Like, how do you know? Like, I freaked out. She went, she got the note. She was like, I found this months ago in your pants. And I had to sit there and explain to her, Mom, I'm bisexual. Maybe it's just a phase. Like, I was really scared of what she was going to think of me.
Up to this point, Aunt Tammie had not publicly spoken about Amber online. But after this, Aunt Tammie went on a spree calling Amber out. This is when she revealed all the things that I've read to you so far. When Amber opened her You Now stream crying about the hate that she gets online, Aunt Tammie joined the chat and said, "Have you ever thought of just telling the truth and quit making empty promises?"
Like, sometimes I am so numb to the comments. Like, so numb. People can tell me, Amberlynn, why don't you have a heart attack? Like, I've gotten this before where people are like, have a heart attack online. I want to see it happen live on You Now. And, that to me, like, sometimes I'm so numb to it. I'm like, have a heart attack on You Now. So funny. And then other times I really sit there and I think about it and I'm like, how can someone want to see me? Like, what? Like, what did I actually do? Like, ever? For someone to actually think that, you know?
On Kiwi Farms, Aunt Tammie said, "Amber lies, deceives, she uses, she's disrespectful, self-destructive, manipulative, and a Class A psychopath." Emma was asked if she felt like Aunt Tammie was doing the same thing that her parents did to her. She said no, then went on to excuse her parents' drug addiction, saying her parents did not choose drugs, despite the fact that she spent years crying online saying her parents chose drugs over her.
My parents are drug addicts, and they chose drugs over me and my brothers, and they probably will till the day I die or till the day they die. It is a sad reality and something that I have dealt with even before I was born.
How do you feel towards your mom and dad for choosing the lifestyle that they had over their own children?
Okay, just a real quick, sentence. What she means by that is my parents literally chose drugs and that lifestyle over me and my 3 brothers. And how do I feel about that? I'm honestly, that's really, the tears are gonna come. I honestly feel like that's really the thing, that they don't love me enough to choose me over that. Because I have known several people in my life who went through a drug addiction, had kids, and then chose their children. Their children made them better. But I feel like I just made my parents worse. I knew this was gonna happen.
Don't cry, it's okay.
And really, I just feel unwanted, like I wasn't loved enough, and sometimes I question why they put me on this earth, me and my 3 brothers, if they were just gonna throw us away.
Do you feel like your aunt is doing the same thing to you that your parents did? I feel like my parents didn't purposely try to hurt me. I feel like, thank you, Lauren, for the bars. I feel like drugs chose them, and they didn't know how to escape that. And I know deep down they felt bad, and they were feeling pain. But I feel like my aunt is trying to purposely hurt me. So in a sense, I feel like my aunt is actually hurting me more than what my parents did. And I know for a lot of people are going to be like, what? But it's like, when you have a family member who's purposely trying to sabotage your life, it's kind of scary, and it's kind of like, what kind of family do I really have? Your parents chose drugs. No, drugs chose them. I feel like when you try drugs for the first time, you choose them, right? But then it's your, how do I explain that? It's so hard to explain what I'm trying to say. I don't know, I just feel like Joe chose them, and then they kind of got sucked into it because of that first time that they did it. Do you get what I'm saying?
In September 2017, Amber's mother was released from prison. She was now sober but didn't want contact with Amber.
My mom has actually been out of prison for 2 months now, and I actually didn't find out until I think it was 3 weeks after my mom got out, and it's because I was messaging my cousin and I was just like, hey girl, what's up, how are you, have you heard from mom, how's my mom doing? And she was like, your mom's actually out of prison. And that shocked me because nobody told me, and I was expecting my mom, to want to communicate with me, but it turns out that my mom, she is sober, she's clean, and she wants to work on herself. I feel a little bit of sadness from this. I've kind of had some time to get used to the feeling. But at first I cried a lot, because I had to experience my mom on drugs, lots of drugs, I was in foster care because of her drugs. So I never got to experience my mom really as a sober person, a sober woman, a sober mother. So it's like now that my mom wants to live this better, happier, and sober life, I feel a little bit offended and like taken back that she doesn't want to share that with me. I don't think it's fair that I had to experience the addict mother and I don't get to experience the sober mother. I love my mom so much, and I know there's been a lot of debate on Amberlynn, why didn't you ever talk to her while she was in prison then? It's because it was too hard for me. There were several times that I wrote, and I never sent it off because there was so much I wanted to say, but I didn't know how to say it. And I know a simple I love you would have been appreciated, but I couldn't even do that. There's a lot of things that went on in my life with me and my mom in the past, and I don't really want to get into it, but I love her unconditionally, and I just wish that I could be a part of my mom's life as a sober woman. That's absolutely amazing, and I wish her nothing but the absolute best.
A month prior to Christine's release from prison, Aunt Tammie posted on Kiwi Farms that she was going to advise Amber's mom not to talk to Amber. She said, quote, "Can't wait for September 15th. I just heard Amber talk about my sister on her live stream. How she leaves my sister messages on her Facebook and private messages. First of all, my sister will not know how to get into her Facebook when she's released. If I get my sister a cell phone, she can make a new Facebook, and I'm sure Amber will search and contact her. If she does, I will try to advise my sister not to, but it will be up to her. I'm going to try my best to keep my sister far away from her sickness and mind fuck. Sorry, I'm kind of venting. So mad right now." Then later, Tammie posted a series of comments on one of the reactors' live streams saying Amber's mother didn't want to talk to Amber because Amber would make her feel bad about her past, asking questions she didn't have answers to as to why she did drugs. So Amber and her mom remained distant for the next several years.
Dora3305 asked, do you have any contact with your family? So I'm assuming that this question is just directed towards me because we talk a lot about Becky's family, very close-knit family. So I have really good news actually about my family, so I'm very happy for this question. My dad recently contacted me, and it was a really great conversation. He told me he's been sober since September, and for him that's, I don't want to get emotional, but for him that's amazing. For my mom, she's still sober. It's been 2 years now, and for both of my parents to be sober, they're not together anymore, but for both of my parents to be sober at the same time is like, I feel like I'm living in like a dream. And I'm currently still not in contact with her because in the past, I'm known for being brutally honest, and for when my mom used to do drugs, it's something that I would bring up a lot, and I'd want to fix her, and I wanted to be the one to change her. And because I knew she could do just so much better, and I knew that it was possible for her to get clean, so I was very much the person to try to fix her even at a young age when I shouldn't have. And I think she knows that I like to be serious and stuff, and I think she just really wants to focus on her sobriety without me right now. But my mom's birthday was February 7th, and I sent her some gifts. I sent her this shirt that said sexy, strong, and sober, and I sent her a bangle. Baby, you're just like,
yeah, I know. I seen the picture that her aunt sent her, and her mom looks amazing. She really does.
Yeah, I sent her a bangle that said, "Mom, I love you," and I sent her these little blessing cards because she does believe in God now, even though she tried to raise me as atheist, but she does believe in God now. So I'm not currently in contact with her, but my aunt and I, we are in contact. We've been talking a little bit here and there, and she tells me how my mom's doing and stuff, so that makes me happy.
My allergies today. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. And then my brother, he is out of prison, and he's currently in rehab.
In late 2023, Amber moved back to Oklahoma. She got herself an apartment close to her mother and grandmother.
Me and my mom, we're gonna go pick up my grandma because my grandma wants to go shopping, and then we're gonna go out to lunch. So that is the plan. And also my grandma's gonna come over and see my apartment. So that's also exciting.
Amber's father is still living in California and still struggles to stay sober.
I just talked to my dad on video chat, and I hadn't actually talked to him on the phone in probably 7 years. I haven't heard his voice in 7 years, but I haven't like physically seen him. Like we never did video chats, nothing, since I was 18 years old, and I'm now 32. And that was the craziest, most surrealist thing that I've done in so long. And it's just like, for all these years, I remembered my dad like a certain way. And to like see him and like hear his voice and it be completely different than like what I remember. And it is just, it's wild. It's so surreal. Rarity has been with me for the whole call. And it was really hard. I don't want to go into like too much detail, but he's not doing very good. And I just love him so much. And yeah, it was just crazy.
In 2023, Amber's brother Tony went back to prison.
My brother, my little brother, he is back in jail for drugs, and it's like, it's so bittersweet because he was homeless, and it's like, I couldn't help him for personal reasons. I'm not gonna say. I couldn't help him with a home. I couldn't help him with him coming here because it wasn't allowed. And it's just, I feel like I didn't help. I tried, you know, I would pay for his food a lot and stuff, and I don't want to say too much about his personal information and stuff and what he's going through, but right now this is also something that I'm going through, and I know that sounds selfish, and I'm not trying to be.
In 2021, she was reunited with her youngest brother James, the one who was put into closed adoption after he was born.
So if you guys go back and you guys remember all the videos I've ever talked about when I talk about my siblings, I always mention I have 3 younger brothers, but 2 were put into closed adoption. So a lot of people guessed already, which I don't know how that's possible, but one of them found us. Yeah. What? So when it happened, I was shook to the core. So my Facebook is meant just for the people I know in real life, and I get a lot of messages on there, and I like never reply to them. And he had sent me a message. He didn't even know he had a sister. That is the part where I'm just like, oh, but honey, I held you when you were a baby, and I've loved you my whole life, and I've missed you my whole life. So it's so crazy. So he didn't even know I was his sister. That's so funny. He sent me a message on Facebook, and he was like, how can I get a hold of Christine or something like that? That's my mom's name. I'm sure everyone knows that. So I didn't even reply. I was like, who the heck is this? They're probably some troll. Like, I ain't got time for it. So I never replied. It was months later, my mom, I mean, this was back the last time I did Jenny Craig. You guys saw the video where I was like, okay, something super crazy happened. This is what it was. And so I get a call from my mom, and it was through Facebook where you could do video call. And like all my family was there in the call, and I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And they're like, guess who this is? And I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, this is your brother. And you guys, if you would have seen me, if you literally would have seen me, I started bawling. Like, you don't even know. It was the craziest experience. Like, that is my little brother that I have waited for and hoped for like my whole life. It is, I literally have no words. I just got emotional with my aunt, like, because we were talking too, and it's like, you know, every family has like rough patches, and it's how you come out of those rough patches is what's ultimately is what matters. And things are so good in like the sense of like my relations and how I'm bettering myself in those relations, because like I know a lot of people saw the drama with me and my aunt years ago, and it's like it almost feels like stuff like that never happened because how things are now. And like, yeah, exactly, focus on the future. It's like how it's going to be is just like that's what matters, you know.